Hello, welcome back. Year 3 of the Essex NFL Fantasy League is back. I am your inaugural league champion and your commissioner, Samuel Travers Wood. Welcome back. It's fantastic to have everyone this year back and raring to go for another season of fantasy football. We're going to start off today talking about the draft. So let's begin. What I'm going to tell you is, I'm going to give you my view on the draft and who had a good draft and who didn't have a great draft. Obviously, I've got the hindsight of a couple of weeks, but this was written and filmed originally 2 weeks ago. We had some technical issues, couldn't upload it. Hopefully this one gets there sooner, but I can prove that this is my actual thoughts before the season even started. So let's start at the bottom. Charles Smith. Shocking draft. I'm embarrassed for him. Week 1 showed it. It was awful. It's going to be an up and down season. I think for Charles, he's looking at waivers now. He needs to do a lot of work. I'm not impressed at all. I'm not impressed with his brother either, Thomas. Good 2 weeks for Thomas actually, points wise. I don't like the team. I'm not a fan. He seems to think he's walking around on sunshine at the moment. Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that. Tom Brady's the greatest thing since sliced bread apparently, but you know, he's a dreamer. He reckons he listens to one podcast and everything they say is gospel. He's a dreamer, he's a joke, and he'll be lucky to win 6 games this year, in my opinion. Next up, Wesley T.O. we're not going to include because he decided not to attend the draft. He's blaming the Commissioner Wood, but I think it's his fault. Lastly, Craig Willis. I think Craig's just stuck in 2010. I know he's probably dreaming about Magaluf or whatever he was doing in 2010, but Peyton Manning ain't Peyton Manning anymore, Craig. You know, you can't be drafting these guys from 3 or 4 years ago. You've got to move, you've got to be forward thinking in this league, and I think Craig's stuck in 2012, 2010, sadly. I think he's going to struggle this year, as the scoreboard shows already. Decent drafts, good drafts. I think Bronning and Wood had a good draft. Could have been better, could have been worse. Obviously, with Des going out, it puts a bit of damper on Wood's draft, but hopefully Des is back in 8 to 10 weeks and he can really be a big boost for the playoff run that Wood is hopefully in. Bronning, solid draft. I wouldn't be super impressed. He was very happy with people like Teddy Bridgewater for some reason. He's already dropped him. He was very happy with TJ Yeldon. I don't think you can be that happy with the draft really. My favourite drafts were Ollie and Simon's. I've got to give Si credit. I think he had the best draft. I was actually rather impressed with Si. Took players in the right spot, took some risks early. Melvin Gordon, Amir Abdullah, I like both the picks now. I wasn't sure about Gordon, I'll be honest. I thought it was a bit of a risk. NFL Insider was saying he's a CJ2K kind of guy. Maybe the case, but hopefully it's CJ2K when he was on fire. And I think Si's hit quite a sweet spot this year. I think he's going to be a real challenge to beat regularly. Ollie, good draft, even though he had a fantastic stand-in for that draft. He picked very well for him. I think he was in a good position. He was just in a good right place at the right time to get some really good players. He'll struggle with his bench. I think the bench is a little bit weak, but the starting team is tremendous. I've got to give the draftee who drafted his team a lot of credit. Whoever it was, he was simply outstanding for Ollie. He could have been an absolute bastard, but he chose to be a good man and draft Ollie a fantastic team. So, week 1, let's have a look. So we'll start off. Well, it was a big week. Wood is now 3-0 opening day against Simon K. It is one of the best matchups of the year, but it's always on week 1. Simon grumbles it should be 2-1 because of a certain buy the first year, Jordy Nelson. Wood has Mr K's number. It's clear that in every facet of life and fantasy football that Wood is superior, except maybe flexing his muscles in the mirror in the gym. K probably wins that. It was a battering 148 to 130. It was never really that close. I was impressed with Wood's team. It was a good effort. But Sile bounced back. So 130 is a good score this year. I mean, the points have come down a lot since the PPR reduction, which has been, I think, a good addition to the league. That was a good win for Wood. 3-0 now, lifetime against K opening day. So probably make it 4-0 next year. We'll just wait and see. Next up, Bronning versus Charles. This was probably going to be the most one-sided match of the year. It's embarrassing. 69 points is a joke. you've got to be putting up at least 80 points on a bad week. That just shows how bad a team he is, that he can't even scratch 80, 85 points. It's embarrassing for Charles. Brunning, that's a really good score, 139. If he can regularly score these kind of points, it'll be tough to beat. He's 2-0 at the moment. I think he had a good week. He got the right opponent, which is all part of the game, and fair play to him, he won that game. He went and won. Always said, just win, baby. And he's done it the first 2 weeks. I think Brunning's team is quite similar to Wood's team last year in the sense that winning ugly and you're top of the tree, and it all falls apart in the playoffs often. It's like Peyton Manning's Colts and Peyton Manning's Broncos. It's just Peyton Manning's teams that are great in the regular season, eking out wins. Maybe they shouldn't win last minute, late wins, close games. And I think in the playoffs he's going to get found out by a good team. I think he's going out first round playoffs if it's a 6-teamer. I don't see him being a threat in the playoffs. I just think he's got one of those teams that's going to come up against a good team eventually in the playoffs. That's the way it goes. And much like Peyton Manning, you're saying ta-ta and bidding bye-bye to the playoffs. Next up, T.O. versus Craig. 2 former Essex Spartans. T.O. with an absolute battering. Didn't even draft his team. Did some good waivers. Craig stuck in 2011. He got bashed and it's embarrassing. 66. Craig's going backwards in fantasy football. I hate to criticise the guy because he's a good player, but he's going massively backwards. He's going to have to make some moves or something because that is not good enough. That is awful. Best match of the week, Ollie versus Tom. One guy with a massive ego, one guy with a massive budget for holidays. And Tom comes out and loses this game. I'm glad he lost because he's been talking a lot of trash about everyone in the league behind their backs, and it needs to come to an end now, Tom. It really does. You need to keep your mouth shut. Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that. His team is a joke, and he does not shut up. He scored 154 points, a good score. You lost. You just got to deal with it. Walking around telling everyone, I would have beaten everyone except him. Yeah, deal with it. That's the whole point of fantasy football. Beat your opponent. Just win, baby. Win ugly. Find a way to win. You didn't do it. Deal with it. I'm impressed with Ollie. I think he's going to really just sit on this team and let it go into the playoffs. I think he's top 4 material all day, every day. Really looking forward to seeing him in the playoffs again. He's a good player to have in that playoffs, unless he's on holiday, in which case he's just going to have to give the team someone else. He'll be around for like 2 or 3 weeks a season, I'm sure, or somewhere. He'll be able to get in that connection wherever he is. Week 2, Tom Smith versus Craig. Craig stepped up again. He almost doubled his score, and he showed some guts. I think he showed his team can put some points up. It's not going to be a 1-win, 2-win team that we thought he could be. And he was within 20 points, which is not awful. He could have won on if he'd have had someone had a bad week, and you can't really criticise Craig for an improvement. We'll have to see in week 3 if he can improve again. Hopefully he can make himself more competitive, maybe some waivers, trade Peyton Manning for, I don't know, a box of Tic Tacs or something, I don't know. And Tom, 141, is a good score. Tom's put some big points up. I've got to give him credit. I thought his draft was pretty poor, and he's putting up points. I think he's riding the Patriots bandwagon with Brady. I think obviously Brady's pissed at the moment, and he's gonna be after everyone. I think they'll die down. They're gonna have some bad weeks, and when Brady goes back to being a top 7, 8 fantasy QB, top 6 maybe, then Tom will see his points drop, and he'll have to rely on his players to really perform, and then we'll see the real team. You don't want to get hot in week 2 or 3. You'll be hot in week 13, 14. Simple as. You want to be hot late. And I think Tom's team is peaking now. I think this is the best you're going to see from Tom. Could make the playoffs, but it's going to be on his early season form. He makes the playoffs. Brunning v Ollie, it's an ugly win for Brunning. He's ranting and raving to him about how he's going to win ugly. He's top of the league. He's going to love being 2-0. Great, be 2-0. I was there last year. First year I was there unbeaten for 10 weeks. I was unbeaten last year for 6 weeks. It means nothing. I didn't win it. I didn't win the title. I won the regular season title twice. Doesn't mean anything. It's what you do in the playoffs. Brunning's team, I'm going to start calling them the Colts because he is Peyton Manning in the Colts. He's going first round of the playoffs, no questions asked. He's going straight out. As soon as he gets challenged by a good team, and that'll be in the playoffs, someone's going to beat him, and he's gone. He can win the regular season, no doubt. No doubt he's going to get, if he gets the right fixtures, he can win the regular season. But this week, Ollie had a bad week, simple as. Ollie's going to be a challenge. I wouldn't be surprised if Ollie comes back and whoops him in the playoffs if it comes to it. But it'll be interesting to see. Next up, we have Charles Smith getting a big win against Wood it was a battering. It was wasn't close. Never was going to be close. Wolves team didn't perform. He's in big trouble at the moment. Des Bryant out. He's made some waivers. David Johnson and Dion Lewis going with some inexperienced risk take. We know he's a risk taker. We know he'll be looking for a trade somewhere. We know what he's like. He'll be looking for a trade, and there's someone out there who's willing to trade with him, I'm sure. But he's willing to gamble. That's what we love about him. He's willing to gamble. Unlike some people in this league, Brian, he's willing to take a risk and understand that the trade can't all be one way. For Charles, I think it's a better sign that he, again, like Craig, he improved. He jumped. Maybe it's just a bad week for Charles, a really, really bad week. And maybe his team can be good. I don't like his team at all, but maybe it can be good. Maybe it can do what it needs to be done. Time will tell. I think Charles is going to struggle to make playoffs, but we'll see. Lastly, Tio, again, solid in the 120s, but Sai, the analyst, K, he tells me about, he reads his stats, puts his glasses on and reads me about third down percentages and Philip Rivers this and blah 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 about this and have you seen Verrett, blah blah blah, and he's telling me that I know nothing, you can fuck off. Well, he's put a big week up for once. He's finally his first big week in 3 years maybe. So I'm really proud of the kid because it's about time. It's about time he put some points up because it's been embarrassing for 2.5 years watching him come 7th, 8th, 6th and moan about having a good team, but it's just not on paper. It's on paper, it's a well good team, blah blah. I'll always have disagreements with him because he's a mouthy little prick, but I think he performed very well this week, and I'm very impressed with his team. I do like his team this year. I think he's done a fantastic job. So overall, week 2's in the books. Giants won in week 3. Come on, Big Blue. Let's go. Going all the way to playoffs. So we'll see how it goes on Sunday. See how everyone's teams does. We'll be back next week early. We'll have a special edition of the show. We're going to have one of the players on. Anyone wanting the player in question is going to be Thomas Smith. We're going to have a Q&A with Tom. So anyone has any questions, get them into me in the next 12 hours, and I will be filming a Q&A with him tomorrow. And we will see how that goes. I'm sure people have got some questions like why you're such a Patriots lover and can you name more than 2 players on the Titans team that he supposedly supports. But apart from that, I'd just like to say thank you to our sponsors, Coca-Cola, always the real thing. And see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.